Hi everybody, this is Dale, that rock guy. We're up here in the Cerbate Mountains of Arizona. You can kind of see that backdrop back over here. So the mine towards the top, kind of zoom in so you can see, it's that gray little pile up there. Kind of up towards that direction. See, Gonzella Mine. It's kind of got a unique history. We've been kind of going up to that mountain for years, digging crystals, gold, silver. It was famous for zinc, gold, and silver. They pulled about 8 million out of there in the early 1900s, which numbers today doesn't sound that impressive, but for the early 1900s that was quite a bit. Started in the 1900s, early 1900s, and basically stopped production about, I think, about the early 70s. So pretty unique up there. It's kind of cool. They have all kinds of different little roads that go up through there. You can kind of just go snooping around. Definitely off-road trails, something you want to have like an ATV or dirt bike or something to go up through. But like I said, a lot of my kind of background was just kind of hiking up through this mountain range and going to different mines and taking samples, doing assay work, kind of all that. So it was a lot of fun. A lot of backbreaking work. I remember we used to have a little black truck. I think the thing was only maybe a ton that could fit in the back of it, and we definitely filled that guy up by 2 or 3 tons sometimes of different rocks and hauled it back home and got flat tires because we overloaded the truck and everything. So it's kind of unique. But I have a guest appearance right here. That's my brother Michael right here.
Hello.
So he's the Indian artifact guy. So we're just gonna kind of show the camera just of the mountain range and just kind of talk about just different things. Just having my first guest appearance, and like we kind of expressed on other videos, he's kind of the Indian artifact guy. So he can kind of explain, what he looks for when he's looking for his treasures on the ground. It's similar for everything that we've always kind of done. Even my uncle used to have the eye for gold. We had the eye for minerals, and then my brother had the eye for just the different points and the flat surfaces of different rocks. So we'll just kind of go through and you'll kind of be able to almost imagine what it's kind of like to go back in these old mining towns and look at it. So bro, so what do you kind of look for when you're looking for an Indian artifact? You're kind of just scoping out the land, just kind of go over what a good spot might be to kind of go look for.
Yeah, it just depends really. I start by doing research wherever I want to go. I'll go online and look and maybe see if I can find where some native camps were at, or just I'll look on topographical maps or go online on Google and try to find something where it looks like there's evidence of water or if there's existing water. And if I find water, I'll find a flat area somewhere where natives would have wanted to camp. And I'll ask myself, hey, would I wanted to camp here long ago? And that will be my lead as far as where I'd want to go and hunt for some artifacts. And then after that, it's just head to the ground and take a peek and see what you can find. And I'll start by finding little chips or flint. My wife calls them chippies, but I'll look around and just find little pieces of shards in which arrowheads were made. Little just glinting pieces of worked stone that I'll look on the ground for in these flat areas, high flat areas above these water sources. And then once I find those flat worked pieces of stone, that flint, that chart, I'll just start looking around, and that shirt I should say, and I'll start looking around, see what I can find, and just keep the head to the ground and look. And man, it could take hours, days before you find something, but once you get that lead and once you start looking and you find that point, that's what you're looking for. And gosh, I've been hunting since 12 years old, since our Uncle Paul
Right.
first took us out. He took me an old racetrack where we used to live, right behind this racetrack, and it didn't tell me what to look for. He just said, hey, just start looking for arrowheads. And I didn't know what the hell to look for, but I knew what an arrowhead looked like. So I would just keep my head to the ground, and I kept on picking up rocks and showing it to him and saying, is this one? Is this one? Is this one of those there arrowheads? And then finally I picked something up, and I didn't know what it was, and I just half foolishly asked him, hey, is this an arrowhead? And He's like, "Oh my God, you found one! You found a whole arrowhead!" And it was teardrop shaped and made of black chert, and very nice piece. And yeah, since then I've had the bug and looked behind our house and looked in all over Nevada and California and Arizona, of course, and Colorado, my home base. But that's what I look for, is just those flat areas above a source of water, and do my research online and go from there.
Yeah, it's really a unique treasure hunt, isn't it? You kind of get that high almost of finding something cool. It's kind of how we grew up. It was, we didn't really, we just kind of just went out. We didn't know really what to expect. You kind of had high hopes that you were going to find something or at least have a cool story to tell. We definitely had a lot of funny stories, even if we didn't find something. Somebody would do something stupid like, have a wasp sting him on the head. That was my classic story that my uncle used to love to tell, running down the mountain, running down the mine and trying to swing at a bee and it stung me on the top of the head. And, the hornet's nest in California, that's always a funny story to kind of talk about too. But yeah, it's definitely been nice to just kind of go out, and it's kind of our hobby, great exercise, something you can always find. So it's really unique, really fun. Different type of hobby. It's I always tell people it's a healthy hobby, but we try to stay out of trouble as much as we can. But I'd rather be up in the mountains than in the city. Kind of finding something cool. So what about a piece that you maybe admire the most in your collection? Because we've been snooping around for years, and there's always maybe a piece or two that you kind of think about that you really admire. Is there a piece in your collection that you kind of always think about a lot, and maybe tell others about?
Oh yeah. Well, I have all my artifacts displayed in my case at home, so all of our guests that come kind of see what I do and all the trouble I get into finding some of these artifacts. But I have a couple favorite pieces, I'd say. Number one was that teardrop shaped arrowhead that I
Right.
found that first time. That's always going to be special because I just didn't know what I was looking for. Didn't expect to find anything. Didn't care. But when I found it, it's just something lit in me. That passion just I didn't know existed. All of a sudden, just grew into a flame. And after that, I just had the bug, and I wanted to find arrowheads everywhere and go seek them out. And I gleaned Paul, of course, for more information on what to look for. But that's my favorite. I've got another favorite one that's I've never identified what it is, but it's a porcupine. We call it the porcupine point. It's got spikes all out of it. It's almost star shaped, almost like a starfish shape. And I found it right behind, about a mile away from where we live. And I was just hiking. Gosh, I just took 2 hours out after work and just started hiking, looking around, poking around. And of course, we're surrounded by water sources and flat top areas, and just an awesome area. A lot of trees, a lot of bushes, lots of areas where it'd be a good campsite. And I started looking around, and I knew I was back home. I told my wife I'd be home at a certain time, and I was running late, so I was just trying to walk back to get back home. And right on top of the ground, I found this point and started shaking, almost crying. Pulled it up out of the ground, and it was just right on top of the ground, right on top of the ground. And that was probably my favorite point, second favorite point than the first one, but just the unique shape of it and the material it was made out of, just the craftsmanship that went into it, the artistic quality of it, like people collecting like fine wines or paintings. It was just something that was made and created hundreds of thousands of years ago to me. The fact that it was still intact and it had all its little points left, it was
Right, that's something we always kind of talk about, just the time it took, and who knows if how long some of these settlers, were on a hillside making their tools just for like the night, if that was their station camp, if that was inside a some animal for a couple months or something. The animal died and it got carried off somewhere else along the path, and cow stepped over it and whatnot. It's kind of cool when you can find something like that when it's just on top of the ground, just like surface level, and you don't have to dig for it. Like with rocks, it's like you never know. Sometimes you can find surface stuff, but a lot of the times it's digging for stuff. So it's definitely kind of unique just to pick something off the ground and be like, wow, this is a treasure that who knows, its life path. Who knows who made it and who else has walked over the top of it. Because my brother can always kind of tell you I've walked over a lot of pieces that he's found, and he's like, "You guys walked over all these pieces," and he's like, just kind of have that eye for it. Once you train your eye, you really know what to kind of look for, and it just kind of it sticks out. at you. It really does. So that's kind of cool. It's pretty neat, huh? Just kind of a different inside scoop of just how other people think about, you know, the treasures that lurk up in the hills. So this is kind of a cool spot just to kind of see the rolling hills and all the different tailing piles. We were kind of looking up on the top of that mountain range up there, and there's all kinds of little roads, and there's tailing piles up there. Tailing piles, you can kind of see they're just like little mounds of dirt, almost like experiment holes where the miners were kind of going and digging, trying to see where the main veins of their precious metals were that they were trying to extract. So you kind of see a lot of those over the hills. We hiked up over this hill kind of behind us. We're kind of on the top of it, but that's kind of the valley down there. You can kind of see the city. That's going to be what? Bullhead City? No, that's going to be, what is it down there?
Down here?
Yeah.
Well, that's facing Golden Valley.
So Golden Valley mostly, yeah. There's some other little suburbs down there. But this whole mountain range has basically nothing, no other little tailing piles from what we can see on this face. But you kind of go back on the other side and there's a lot of goodies. You can kind of see all the tailing piles and roads and a little shack through there as well. So really cool. Well, thanks, brother. I appreciate you. We were able to come out here, unfortunate times, but it's made the best of it. Took a little hike, which was always fun. It's beautiful weather out. It's like 60 degrees up here and nice little breeze. Nice cool air, so we'll take it any day. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll catch you later.